Welcome, everybody, to another episode of our weekly Wide Right Natty Lite betting show with our good friends at DRF Sportsbook. We are back once again. I'm Levi Stevenson. We're joined again by Austin Keeney. The rest of the crew is out this week doing various other life things. So it's just me and Austin holding down the fort. How's it going, Austin?
It's going all right. It's a big week. Big week of betting.
That it is. Before we get into all that stuff, we want to mention that you can use code WRNOW1000 to receive a 100% deposit up to $1,000 when you sign up for DRF. You can use that promo code when you check out. It's an awesome way to get some free money to bet with there. If you throw $200 in, they'll match $200. If you throw $700 in, they'll match $700. It's a bunch of free money to bet with. Definitely recommend it. They've always got lots of cool props, things like that, and we'll kind of go through some of those kind of as we go along too. They've got a bunch of them for the Super Bowl, which is this coming weekend. So obviously huge gambling weekend coming up here. So, but first, let's talk about Iowa State, since that's kind of our deal. Last week, obviously, really only one game in our main window, which was Kansas. Or I guess we did talk about West Virginia, which they haven't played. They play tomorrow night, or they play on Wednesday night. So Kansas last weekend, Iowa State put the shellacking on them, 68-53, easily covered any spreads there. Pretty huge, big confidence-boosting win. Jazz Coons comes back. Really like how that all plays out. Everything looked pretty smooth and easy. There was really no anxiety in that game whatsoever.
Yeah, I said don't bet on Iowa State, and then nobody roasted me when we won, so I was a little disappointed, to be honest.
I think I did see one person in your Twitter mentions tag Old Tick Exposed, so we'll see.
I'm happy to be called out there, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Best time to be wrong. This coming week, we have Oklahoma State on Saturday, and that which is at home at Hilton Coliseum. Iowa State's a 64-60 favorite on Ken Palm right now, so it's a 124 over under. I guess Oklahoma State's they're good, but they're a little bit streaky. I don't know how you're feeling about this one. I mean, Iowa State hasn't lost at home so far this season. They appear to be back on the right track. Do you think Iowa State's going to cover that 4?
Ken Palm loves Oklahoma State. They really do. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the spread is going to be, I think, significantly higher than 4 points, but anything under 10 is a great spot for Iowa State. So the Hilton Coliseum home court advantage, I'm not sure if Vegas is totally caught up to it yet. Kansas State's the only team that's played us within 10 points at Hilton Coliseum. If we're getting anything less than 10, I like Iowa State.
I'm right with you there. I'm not as big of an Oklahoma State they're good, but I'm not as big. I'm not as big of an Oklahoma State believer necessarily as some sort of elite level team.
Kind of a revenge game too, by the way. We jumped out to that big lead down in Stillwater and let it slip away.
Right.
If we get out to a big lead again, they're not coming back.
They're not coming back. Right. So I like Iowa State to cover this one. 64-60 seems really close. But they do have it as a 67% win percentage. So that's kind of interesting that it's such a high prediction percentage. But just a 4-point spread there. So I like Iowa State there to cover that pretty easily. Then next Wednesday, which kind of just falls in our window there, is TCU at home. I would say obviously won a big road game down in Fort Worth. The first time around, a big Gabe Kalsher 3 right at the end of regulation there, or near the end of regulation. It was a big time win. TCU is one of those where they could get bounced in the first round and they might go on a Elite 8 or a Final 4 run. Who knows? Because they can really, when they're hot, they can really score the basketball. And I'm kind of curious. So right now, Iowa State's currently projected as a 3-point favorite over the Horned Frogs at home. What do you think about this one? I mean, obviously TCU is a little bit more consistently good, very, very good offensive team.
Yeah, my thoughts here would be, if you're going to bet the game, do not do it until you hear the lineups before tip-off, because Mike Miles is hurt. He's TCU's best player. I have no idea when he's coming back. Eddie Lampkin has also been hurt, their big guy. He is, I think, playing tonight, but he hasn't played a lot. I don't know. So the health factor there is a big deal, which is why I don't feel comfortable really giving any sort of prediction other than I think Iowa State does win the game because they're at home and We take care of business at home. I just have no idea how you can even say what the number is going to be if TCU doesn't have their best player.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't know where you even touch this at the moment. Just looking at, I mean, assuming there's no injuries for Iowa State, I think you can feel at least somewhat okay, somewhat comfortable taking them on the money line, which, I mean, obviously we don't have that just yet. But as far as covering a spread, I don't know. I don't love it.
This is one where I could see TCU keeping it close, and they like sneaky play really well at Hilton Coliseum, or at least they have for the last couple of years.
Yep.
I don't know what the health factor. I don't know how you confidently say either way what's going to happen.
Fair enough.
So it's one of the fatal flaws of this exercise because the game's over a week away.
Right. So with those Iowa State games out of the way, let's move on. Obviously, this is the big weekend for sports betting, the Super Bowl. We did touch on a couple last week, but let's really dig into it here. I'm looking at some of these. I guess obviously I've made it well known at this point. I'm a big sucker for parlays, so I'm kind of digging through some of these as well. I don't know. Is there anything that what are you looking at as far as a spread, or do you have a money line you like?
I am still kind of up in the air. So the way I see it, I think there's three possible outcomes for the Super Bowl. You either get a Kansas City close win, a Philly close win, or a Philly blowout. I do not see a world where the Chiefs blow out the Eagles. I think where
currently Eagles are a 1.5 favorite.
Yeah,
minus 120 on the money line, and there's an over under of 50.5.
I just say pick who you think is going to win the game. I could see doing the plus 1.5 if you like Kansas City, which I do. So I think the Chiefs are going to be my official pick for who wins the game. 1.5. I would.
To me, there's no reason whatsoever to take the Eagles on the money line here. You might as well just pick them to cover the spread. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get minus 110 versus minus 121. There's no reason at all to take the money line versus the spread.
I'd actually take the money line if you like Philly, because like a lot of weird things can happen. They could win by 1 point. It's a 2-point conversion they don't get, a missed extra point, something weird happens.
I guess it seems like if a 1 point win in football specifically is so uncommon that I don't know, especially in a game that's going to be it's going to be a lot of touchdowns and field goals. I mean mostly touchdowns here. I mean it's just going to be hard to land on a 1 point margin.
I'm just thinking like very possible Philly scores a touchdown to go up by 1 point, and they need to go for 2 to go up by 3, and they don't get the 2-point conversion. So like
fair
that's
enough.
why I like, if you think Philly's going to win, I'd take Philly money line. If you like Kansas City, I can understand, taking the plus 1.5.
Well, if you're Kansas City, so I guess if you like Kansas City to win, you definitely take the money line.
Yeah,
because you just get a little bit better money out of that. But
1.5 is like it's one of those red flags that goes up. It's like, why is this just 1.5 point? Why is it not a pick 'em? It's almost like if you think the NFL is rigged, which it's not, 1.5 somehow it's like, of course the game is probably going to be settled by 1 point and screw over as many gamblers as possible.
Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna dig into some of these fun. We look at these pre-packs again. We took a little sneak peek at them last week. I was just kind of seeing if any of these had moved. Here's an interesting one. If you take Eagles on the money line, over 50.5 points for the game, and Jalen Hurts as a touchdown scorer, you get plus 420. If you like the Eagles to win, it's probably not bad value there. I would assume this game hits the over. Both offenses can move the ball pretty well. One of the defenses is not that great.
Again, what it comes down to is, how do you think the game's going to play out? Because if Philly builds a big lead, they are going to sit on the ball. They do not score in the second half of games if they're up by a lot. So
sure,
I think Kansas City is a good bet to score points. I would probably lean the under. I'm probably not going to bet the total, but I can definitely see why it would be a high scoring game because of Kansas City's offense. Philly has not played very many good offenses. I mean, they beat San Francisco with no quarterback to get here.
How you feeling about Patrick Mahomes hitting yardage and touchdown totals?
Not great, because Philly has the best pass defense in the NFL.
Yeah, this one right here seems like the sucker's bet. Like if you like, because you can get plus 700 on Pat Mahomes hitting 350 passing yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that seems like a sucker's bet where you see like, damn, you know what, Pat Mahomes is going to go off. They're going to have to throw it all over the place to beat the Eagles.
That's a lot of yards.
That's a lot of yards.
I'll tell you,
that's a lot of yards in the regular season against the Texans.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Pat Mahomes prop that I like, and this is maybe my favorite prop of the entire Super Bowl, is over 39.5 pass attempts, because
39 pass attempts. Okay.
Yeah, you need him to throw it 40 times to get there, it's a lot, but I think it's more likely than not that Kansas City is going to play from behind, so they got to throw. Philly's got a great defensive line. I don't think they can run on the Eagles.
Right.
Screens, swing passes, shovel passes, those are all pass attempts, and I don't know if Mahomes can run, so he's probably more likely to throw the ball away than scramble forever.
Right. I was trying to see if there's like some interesting, if you can kind of adjust the passing totals around a little bit, just to see if you could put together a parlay that you like. So if you can say over, do you think he'll hit 300?
That's still a stretch to me.
I know that's kind of where I'm at with it.
It depends on what you're trying to get. Are you trying to get a big plus sign on something?
I was trying to, you can, at under 291 is minus 112. Under 274.5 is plus 135.
Because like if you're trying to build a parlay, I could see if you think Kansas City is going to win, obviously they're going to throw the ball a lot. They're going to have passing yards. But if you take like over 200 passing yards as your base, and then you pair it with a touchdown scorer you like and the team total over on points or something like that, you could probably build a decent parlay that way.
So if you say, okay, so I'm building a parlay. I'm just kind of building a fun parlay here. So Pat Mahomes over 250 passing yards. Travis Kelce has a touchdown scorer. And what should we throw in there?
What's the Chiefs team total? Like 24.5 or something like that?
Game, let's see. Total points by the Chiefs would be 24.5.
Yeah, throw that in there. What's that look like?
As an over?
Yes.
We'll throw that in as an over. So Pat Mahomes over 250. Travis Kelce as a scorer. Chiefs as a 24.5 point, over 24.5 total team points gets you to plus 260.
That's not bad. I think
that's not terrible. Yeah, that's not terrible.
A very realistic outcome if Kansas City's going to win the game. They're
right.
Probably going to have to
even if they're not going to win the game, they're going to have to throw to Travis Kelce. I don't know. I wonder if you can get a good. Let's say you dump him as the TD scorer, and then you take him as a receiver.
Kelce's the only one I feel comfortable about, just because they're so injured. I don't even know.
So let's say he breaks 100 yards receiving. That's a lot. 90. We'll say 90. Let's say he breaks 90 yards receiving. So that gets you to plus 285. With Pat Mahomes over 250, Travis Kelce over 90 yards receiving, Chiefs over 24.5 points. It gets you to 285.
So Levi, who do you think is going to win the game?
I'm going to say the Eagles, because I think they're just to me, the Chiefs are just really good. They're just relying entirely on Pat Mahomes' magic, just finding, making something happen. The defense isn't great. They've got Travis Kelce, maybe the best receiving tight end of all time, or whatever. I mean, one of the best pass catching duos of all time. But Pacheco is a fine running back. I don't think he's like a world beater, but he's fine. Other than that, they need they'll need like Mecole Hardman or somebody to step up and have a big game, catching the ball out of the receiver spot. I think if they're going to be in, so I would take the Eagles on the money line. I think.
Okay, so I think my advice would be, if you're going to bet the Super Bowl and you have a good feeling about which team is going to win the game, if you really like Philly, I would be looking at props of, what does a Philly win look like? They probably jump out to an early lead and run the ball a lot. So I would say Like
Well,
the
and
Eagles.
that's where it comes back to that one that I found before, where you have the Eagles on the money line, pre-packs. Eagles on the money line. Hit the over of 51 points or more, and Jalen Hurts was a touchdown scorer.
So one that I like is, I guess two that I like. The Eagles to score first is minus 112, and then the first score to be an Eagles touchdown is plus 190. I like both of those. I don't, they start fast in a lot of games. They go for it on fourth down instead of kicking field goals. So I could definitely see Philly getting the ball first if they win the coin toss or whatever.
Right.
Take it down, convert a 4th and 1 somewhere, score a touchdown, boom. Eagles score first score Eagles touchdown. I like both of those bets as
sure
game ones, yeah.
I'm looking at some alternate lines here just to see how far you could stretch it one way or the other before I wouldn't touch it. Put anything down on Eagles minus 5.5.
I think Kansas City's going to win the game. So personally, I wouldn't. But
you
like
think Kansas City's going to win?
I do.
So the question is, how far would you stretch Kansas City as a favorite to get some extra value?
2.5, not very. Like I said,
2.5 is plus 120.
Kansas City, I think if they win, which I do think they'll win, I think it's going to be a close game. If you think Philly's going to win, you can get real creative with how far you want to take that. I could see them winning by 2 touchdowns.
They could win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, like minus 13.5. There's probably a big number sitting out there.
Minus 12.5 is plus 390.
Or you could do, I think DRF has the bands if they win by like 13 to 19 points or something like that. There's probably pretty good value there too.
Yeah.
So
if you take will they let you do an alternate score line parlayed with a total touchdowns by the Eagles over 3.5? It gets you a nice plus 500.
Yeah.
If you're feeling really good about the Eagles to score at least 4 touchdowns and win by 2 touchdowns, plus 500 right there for you.
So since it's just the two of us, we decided we're not going to do like our best bet of the weekend or anything, but I want to know like what your absolute favorite prop of the Super Bowl is going to be. I think that's a good way for us to kind of wrap this thing up.
Let's say
tails for the coin toss.
You like tails for the coin toss?
Yeah, tails never fails, right?
That's fair. I will take. I was trying to find some of those odd duck ones.
If you're a sick freak, I want to know if you can parlay the coin toss with things.
Oh, I bet you can.
Like can you parlay tails and the Chiefs win or something crazy?
Who's doing the national anthem?
So here's the problem. It's Chris Stapleton, by the way, but Iowa does not allow you to bet those exotic props.
Okay.
Because it's not defined as like an athletic competition. It's just a guy singing a song.
Now, I would say if I was able to bet that, I would probably take, I'm not sure what the number would be, but I would probably be inclined to take an under on that. Because I think Stapleton will keep it moving along. But we'll see. So I guess, yeah, I don't know.
I'll go first because mine is the Mahomes pass attempts. I think they're going to throw a lot. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball at all. And if they're going to play from behind, they're going to throw and throw some more. So over 39.5 pass attempts would be my best prop of the Super Bowl.
And I like this is interesting. I like the Eagles to be the first team to 30 points at plus 200.
Yeah, that's a lot of scoring.
It's a lot of points, but I think this is going to be one where the Chiefs are going to keep enough pressure on them, enough upward pressure on them to force the Eagles to keep moving the ball and keep trying to score as opposed to just sitting on it and taking the air out of the ball. I think the Eagles are going to have to keep scoring. I think they're going to be able to because I don't think Kansas City's defense is all that great. So I'll take the Eagles as a plus 200 to be the first to 30 points.
Okay, fair enough. Levi's plus sign hunting.
Absolutely. I'm all about trying to find some upset value.
One last one I'll throw out.
Which is also why I'm not a good gambler.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to hit as many of them when you got plus signs on there. So one last one I will throw out as a prop I like is either team to score a defensive touchdown. It's plus 285.
There you go. That's a good one. I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah, and I think Philly to score a defensive touchdown is like 7-1.
Yeah. Okay.
So two more to linger on.
There
A
you
lot
go.
of props. There's so much going on with the Super Bowl. I'm gonna have so much money tied up in it, and I'm gonna lose everything. It's gonna be a blast.
It's gonna be the best. All right. Well, very good. So everybody, thank you for watching this episode of the Wide Right Natty Lite Betting Show. Levi Stevenson, Austin Frost, and Keeney. Everybody, remember you can go when you sign up for DRF Sportsbook. You can get a use code WRNL1000 to receive a 100% deposit match up to $1,000, minimum of $100. You can get some really great free money to bet on the Super Bowl this weekend. In case you want to lose it all, you can lose some of DRFs.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
there you go. So everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys again next week.